funny thing happened on the way to the keyboard. I sat down with the intent of writing a short story, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I had it all planned out. There's a guy, a girl, another guy, another girl, and none of them end up with the person you expect. And there's a big epic quest to save the world, but it's really about the people. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, the unicorns invade. I had it all planned out, because I'm the kind of guy who needs a roadmap before he'll get into the car. But I keep hitting the enter key too quickly, and instead of paragraphs, I'm getting all these little lines, and even though they don't rhyme, I know I'm writing poetry. Equinox. She sings of summer, even as the hailstones bang against her windows, demanding to be let in. It's her voice that keeps winter at bay, after the old radiator has finally given up the ghost. It's not the words, but the way she sings them that keeps them all warm while the rest of the world freezes their asses off. Hollywood astronomy. The stars are bright and high above us, shining in the dark. We discover them, we name them, we tell stories about them, some true, some false. We can never really touch them, but we do like to watch them rise, and we love to watch them fall. And when their work is done, they collapse into a crushing darkness that devours everything around them. Or they explode into supernova and turn entire worlds to ash. A simple meditation on the chaotic nature of life is related to a young man in his prime by an old man whose fortunes have risen and fallen many times. He winks and scratches his nose. You never know. Pandora's box, a haiku. You stab me with keys, then you're surprised when the demons come. Deliberations on ordering takeout. Again, inspired by a true story. This is a series. Vegetables. I didn't claw my way out of the dirt, lap up any water I could find, draw in those brief slivers of sunlight, survive the removal of my roots, endure the humiliation of being stripped bare, just so you could ask the waiter to have me set aside. Outrageous pasta haiku. Charging me extra because your pasta is shaped like Anne Hathaway? Nobody expects the Polish Inquisition, a true story of 20 questions. This, by the way, is why you never go to a restaurant when someone's on a diet. Can I get the chicken grilled instead of fried? Does it come with lemon juice? Is that made from real lemons? What color were those lemons? Does this salad have croutons? Does this salad have dressing? What kind of dressing? Is it like the dress I'm wearing? Back to the chicken. Is it good? Does it behave? Would you describe its behavior as obedient or malicious? How many calories in the chicken? How many calories in the chicken sauce? How many calories in this water? How many calories can dance on the head of a pin? Why do you look like you're on pins and needles? Where were you on the night of July 25th? Do you see yourself as a late night or early morning person? What's your average type and speed, and can I get that meal to go? Tip, another haiku. The Zen master says, change only comes from within. I'm all accepted. Saturday morning villains. This is dedicated to the children of the 80s. Mumra moves pretty fast for an old bag of bones. He beats the basketball against the pavement and throws a perfect shot from across the court. I scoop up the ball and face him down, dribbling it between us. And I say, you know what? I think you could have beaten them. I think you could have won all along. He smiles with sharp white teeth against gray, decaying skin and says, who would I be then, with no one to challenge me? Who would I be without them to define me? I pass the ball to Skeletor, who sticks out his chest and insists, I could have won too. Dr. Claw has his back to us, of course, but he wags his middle finger and his cat laughs hysterically. Later, we're on the bench watching Cobra Commander drive the lane, and I turn to Shredder sitting beside me and ask, doesn't it bother you that you never had your day in the sun, that you never, ever, ever won? The streetlight is glinting off his faceplate, and I can't tell if he's smiling or sneering. But he says, not the point. No matter what they do, no matter how they hurt us, we always get back up. We always come back for more. Diet poem number 6. You can guess how it turned out. This is just to say, reprise. I have eaten the chocolates that were on my desk, and which you probably thought I could resist. Fuck you. They were delicious, and I'm not made of stone. Postscript in the eternal words of Marvin the Martian, well, back to the old drawing board. 9 lives. Cat lovers, avert your ears. Which death do you think cats remember best? Their first, when mortality was still a new concept, fresh as the blood that spilled into the gutter. Their second, still tentative, not sure if resurrection really works as advertised. Their fifth, by which time they're spending lives like tissue paper, dying to escape the consequences of their actions and vowing they'll do better next time. Or is it their last, when they breathe a great sigh of relief and thank their gods that it's finally over? A dialogue between 2 mirrors, one cracked and one whole. She says, when I look at you, all I see are the parts of myself you've stolen away. He says, when I look at you, all I see is the constant reminder of my imperfections. The breakup. There had to be at least one, right? It's not me, it's you. You're never around when I need you, but you're the center of the whole damn universe. You don't answer my calls, but you expect me to jump at your every command. You demand my trust while contradicting yourself at every opportunity. Every day you're a different person, and I know I'm not the only one that you call the only one. So listen here, God, we're through. Leave your keys on the kitchen table. This is from a series called Drunk Dialing with Ouija Boards. Breakfast at Stephanie's. Sitting at a Jerusalem cafe on a cold Sunday morning, Scheherazade, Rainer Rilke, and I. Scheherazade begins, once upon a time, her pause becomes a full stop and she bursts into tears. Rainer frowns, unnerved by her display, and says, now you've done it. Now you might as well be dead. I sip my mocha chocolate chino and I pat Sherry's hand reassuringly. Writer's block is no big deal. After 1,000 nights, the well's gonna dry up. What you need is a vacation. Rainer laughs and says, oh yes. Somewhere women don't have to worry that their husbands will murder them if their stories have the wrong morals. Virginia shows up, late as always, orders eggs over easy, and triumphantly announces the completion of her 89th novel. Well, it's easy for her with her room and her money. She doesn't have to worry about the rent, or job security, or seminar papers. Let's do something a little. Warbirds. They've been gathered outside my window for 3 hours now. A sea of black feathers rustling in the night wind. They say nothing, communicating only by the blinking of their black, beady eyes. I would be at a loss were it not for the traitorous pigeon on my windowsill. Resentful at his exclusion, he spills their secrets like water slipping through cracked glass. They are deciding the fate of humanity, he says. Whether we are to accept the world as is or rise up and conquer both earth and sky. Having always suspected birds of secret, treacherous thoughts, I am little surprised. Flapping winds scatter dust and sand, and they spiral into the sky, a dark whirlwind carrying their verdict in the eye of the storm. Sleepwalker. They say you're crazy if you do the same thing again and again and again, expecting things to change on their own. They say that, but you still get up in the middle of the night and turn off all the lights in the hall and shuffle into my room and open the door and lean down to kiss an empty pillow as if I'm still there. Origami love. She can fold and tuck and cut and pull and press down until the end of time. He will never take the shape she truly desires. Ooh. This is not as advertised. Naomi. This is another one from Drunk Alley with Ouija boards. When the smoke clears, it's not Alan who comes forth, but Naomi, sweeping into my room in a whirlwind of bathrobe belts. She looks the way I've always imagined ever since that first time I heard her story from the wise woman on the side of the road whose scarred wrists were weighed down with gold and silver bracelets. They keep me here, she said, with some sorrow, as she told me about Naomi, whose bracelets were leather and bit into her flesh and never came off. It was Alan I wanted, who died when I was only 14, too young to know the power his words would have over me. Not wishing to be impolite, for fear she'd go back and tell Alan how awful I am, I try to be tactful, to tell her gently. Naomi looks at me and says, "You forget, I made him. There was always a little bit of me in him, in his poems, even the ones that weren't about me. There's a little bit of me in all of you, all my children, all my poets. But I think you know that." And she's just gone, swallowed up by the white.